What is up, everybody? Ninja Nick 333. We're back for another round of the Japan Championships, aka Japan Nationals. This is the first round of day 2. Looks like we got a couple of 6-2s here, which is a little surprising to me because I think we saw a couple of 6-2s play on the last round of the last day, so I'm not quite sure how their day 1 to day 2 goes, but either way. We do have a Mew deck here on the left is going to be forced to put a Forest Seal Stone onto its Mew. That's not where you want to put it. You want to usually put it onto a Genesect so you have room for the Choice Belt on your Mew. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. You got to get that Battle VIP Pass turn 1 if you can. Looks like they flipped tails for the Cram-O-Matic, so this is the only option. They could have gotten 2 Battle VIP Passes, but they're going to have to be forced to only get 1 because of that Cram-O-Matic tails. The player on the right is playing some sort of Arceus deck. Starting the Arceus definitely wants to attach an energy card for their first turn, but might actually lose their Arceus because the Mew player is going first. So hopefully this Mew deck is on the double turbo energy version, which is a little bit better than the Fusion Strike energy build. Although the Fusion Strike energy build seems to be a lot more popular these days than it should be because it does use the Ice Cube for some reason or another. I'm not quite sure why, even still to this day, after seeing it a few rounds so far on stream. So, yep, this is a round... Yeah, it says this is a round 9 match. So, yeah, these players must have both been 6-2, and then they make it into cut. I think day 2 is like a top... maybe 32 or 64 cut, something like that, and then single elimination. Because that would make sense, because they only have 8 wins and losses on their record. Or no, that would make sense, 8 wins and losses on their record being around 9. I don't know, I'm tired. I only took 1 nap today, so. Looks like they are even playing the Stealthy Hood. Pokemon that attack into it that have 40 or less remaining HP do no damage to it. So that is actually a tech for Gardevoir. So that their Shining Arcana Gardevoirs and their Zacian Vs can't do damage to them. Which is really funny, and it doesn't really work out that very well, because you can only put it onto one of your Pokemon, so they can just boss around it. And some Gardevoir decks are even playing Drapion now for good measure, so like, still. So we are going to go for a Capturing Aroma, very interesting inclusion in an Arceus deck. You usually don't see Capturing Aroma in much of anything except Lugia, because you need ways to search those evolution Pokemon. Looks like we flipped tails, so we are going to get a basic Pokemon, and maybe this Arceus will live a turn. A little bit unlikely, but looks like it might actually happen. So hopefully we have a double turbo energy so we can use the Trinity charge this turn. We would be able to accelerate some energies into play out of the deck. So usually if you are going first, you feel safe just attaching any energy card, but when you go second, you really need that turn 1 double turbo. So we are Ultra Balling to search our deck for a Pokemon that I legitimately cannot identify. I have no idea what that card is. Looks like it is a Pokemon V. Oh, it looks like it's a Regidrago? Oh, man. Alright, we're playing Regidrago Arceus VSTAR. That is crazy. So the Regidrago, for those who don't know, for 2 grass and 1 fire energy, can copy the attack of any dragon evolution Pokemon in your discard pile, I want to say. It might be any dragon Pokemon in your discard pile. It might be any dragon evolution. I'm not entirely sure. I just know that you play a lot of dragon evolutions because their attacks are good. So you can always Ultra Ball and research away things like Giratina V-Star. You could do Noivern EX, which has some really great attacks that can item lock and special energy lock. You can use a single prize stage 2 Dragonite that has an attack very similar to Trinity Nova. It just does 150 instead. You could use Hisuian Goodra V-Star's attack, so you do 200 and reduce how much you take by 80 next turn. So there's all sorts of various ways that the Regidrago can end up working out. This Mew deck, even though it is drawing pretty poorly, did make a very correct decision, I will say, in bossing up the Regidrago. It has no energies on it, so you will need to find a switching option. It does have a 3 retreat cost, so even attaching a double turbo for turn will not do that. It looks like we're playing Jacques as well. I'm surprised he's not Professor Jacques, because he is the professor of Scarlet and Violet, even though there's Professor Turo and Orsada in those games. They're not really the professor of the game. Like, the guy who gives you the Pokedex app on your Rotom phone, and the guy who keeps track of its progress and wants you to research Pokemon is your teacher Jacques, who wears a lab coat and is a research professor. So, like, why is the card not called Professor Jacques? Why is he not considered the professor of the game? You don't even interact with Turo or Sada until, like, the very, very, very tail end of the game, really. You, like, talk to them literally one time, and then not again until the end of the game, so. Yeah. That's my rant on Pokemon storytelling and how it's bad in Scarlet and Violet. Although it's bad in every game so far. So we're going to use Starbirth. We're going to search our deck for any 2 cards. Makes sense. We did replace the Path to the Peak with the Calamitous Wasteland. So very odd to see the Calamitous Wasteland here in the Arceus deck, I believe, because it does make the retreat cost of non-fighting Pokemon 1 colorless energy more. So I suppose that makes it so the Mew VMAX has 1 retreat cost instead. I guess it's to slow down Lost Box as well. It's a very interesting card, to be sure. I think it is something that you want to pick up from the set, whether you're going to play it or not. Usually, whenever a new set comes out, you want to pick up a playset of all of the trainer cards, like any of the supporters, stadiums, items that you think are halfway decent tools. And then just a place, usually like 3 of whatever Pokemon you think are playable. 3 or 4, depending. So, like, for this set, I got 3 Tingaloos, 3 chien-paos, and then a playset of every trainer card. Almost every trainer card. I think there was, like, 1 or 2 that were just unplayable in the set. That way you can have your Jacques in your stuff to be able to play it. But anyway, Jacques, before I went on that rant, it lets you search your deck for 2 evolution Pokemon, put them in your hand. So, a little bit worse than Adventurer's Discovery, honestly, because you are playing almost exclusively V Pokemon. I mean, maybe you're playing a couple Dragon-type EXs in the deck, like Noivern EX, but I think that the value you get by getting an additional Pokemon off of Adventurer's Discovery just seems a lot better than playing Jacques in your deck, at least until Adventurer's Discovery rotates out. But they do have the Regidrago VSTAR on the bench, just needs 1 more Grass Energy in order to attack. We do have 1 of the Fire Energies on the Arceus as well, and because you are playing Fire Energies in this Regidrago version of Arceus, you also have access to the Radiant Charizard, so I'm really hoping to see if that is in this deck for this player. Looks like he cuts the deck and then cuts both halves. That's a very odd way to do it. You shuffle so much in this game, if you're doing anything other than a straight cut, it should just be a shuffle. You either shuffle your opponent's deck, or you do 1 straight cut. If you do anything more than a straight cut, if you want to, like, put it in 4 piles and mix them all around, it doesn't matter, because your opponent's going to draw 2 cards and then look through their deck again. That's just how it always works. So cutting any more than 1 straight cut is just a waste of your own time, in my opinion. Same with pile shuffling. I have the same opinion as Azul, but I'm not going to, like, find you in a back alley and shoot you in the kneecap like he will. I mean, if you do it during between games in a match, I will tell you not to do it. But still. So we got the double turbo energy on our Mew. We're still looking for the Mew V-Star. Looks like we're retreating the Mew? What? Oh my god, we retreated the Mew, discarding a double turbo because of the stadium, into a different Mew that has no choice belt on it. And just passing the turn. I think that if you're going to retreat it, you retreat into the into one of the Genesects, because the Genesect cannot be one-shot by the Arceus. You force them to retreat into the Regidrago. And then if you have a really good next turn, you could just play a bunch of power tablets and remove their only Pokemon that has enough energy to attack, and then they're stuck with just Arceuses that they have to, like, slap double turbos onto. But now, instead, since you promoted a Mew, that does allow the Arceus to take a one-shot on that, and now they bench another Regidrago V, and now they're able to get even more energy into play and spread out all their energy. They have now 4 attackers that are 1 energy card away from being fully set up. Or I guess one of the Regidragos is fully set up, but the other 2 Pokemon on the bench are 1 energy card away. So 1 Grass for the new Regidrago, and 1 Double Turbo for the Arceus. So yeah, I think that was a very horrible play from the Mew player. Definitely should have gone into the Genesect in order to force the Regidrago active. So we do go for the Ultra Ball here. We are going to get the Mew VMAX now. Evolve the active into it. And yeah, now this is as equally difficult to knock out as the Regidrago. So you're going to need to expend just as many power tablets and choice belts and everything in order to do that. And then the Regidrago can come up and potentially one-shot you after this. If it has maybe a Cleansing Gloves or a choice belt of its own, it can copy the Giratina VSTAR's attack and knock you out in 1 hit. I think the only reason you would not want to force the Regidrago up is if they have maybe like Hisuian Goodra in their discard pile, but I think the only Pokemon that they have in there right now is the Giratina VSTAR. I haven't seen any other Dragon Pokemon from them, unless I missed something, which is entirely possible. Looks like we are Ultra Balling for yet another Mew VMAX, so we're getting 3 Mew VMAXs this turn, but there's only 2 Mews that were capable of evolving in play because, again, you let another one die. So that Ultra Ball could have been for just another Genesect, or you could have gotten the Mew VMAX to evolve the 3rd Mew, and you would have had a little bit of a better way to play your hand in that regard. Yeah, so I think the player on the left playing poorly. I think the player on the right playing a bad deck. But it's really working out for them right now. I did play against a Regidrago VSTAR deck at one of the regionals that I was at when I was playing Charizard Lost Box. And they did have 2 Hisuian Goodras in their deck in case they prized one. And I did still manage to beat them, best 2 out of 3. I did lose 1 game because I bricked. So if a deck like Lost Box can beat Regidrago, I don't really have much confidence in it. I'm going to leave it at that. So does play the Roxanne because the opponent is already at 2 remaining prize cards. Has already taken 2 knockouts on 2 V Pokemon. Plays a... Like, you shouldn't even be at the point where you can even play Roxanne yet, because you shouldn't have allowed your opponent to take that knockout. So now he's trying to find a way to dig through his deck to try to find more power tablets, but it looks like he's already used all 3 Genesects and has only used 1 power tablet. So he's doing 210 minus 20 from the Double Turbo is 190, plus 30 for the Choice Belt is 210, plus another 30 for the 1 power tablet is 240. He needs to do an additional 40 damage in order to knock out this Arceus VSTAR, and then he's still going to be 2-shotting everything after that, so... yeah, it looks like this game was completely I mean, the start from the Mew was very poor. I'm not going to lie. So that is what led to the downfall. But again, that one turn where he just retreated was literally throwing the game. And this might be a single elimination portion. Or no, it's not. Because if it was single elimination at this point, it would say it. It wouldn't say round 9. It would say top X. So this player might still have another round or 2 to play. Maybe might still make it into the cut. We will just have to see. So this player accidentally throws their cards all over the place. So they are trying to rectify their deck here. They do... Okay, so they did have 1 additional grass energy on their Regidrago, and that's gone now. And now there's a grass energy on the Arceus, which did have a fire energy. So I don't know what they did when they just knocked their deck all over the place, but they They almost lost themselves the game right there by screwing up game state. So we're just going to evolve another Regidrago. We're going to attach an energy from hand for turn for that. Play our own Path to the Peak. And yeah, I think I do feel fine just attacking with the Arceus VSTAR. Just let it go down. Let your opponent take 2 prize cards. I mean, what are they going to do? They're still 2 knockouts away. Especially if you don't have enough different varieties of dragons in your discard pile to copy with the Regidrago V. We really should be seeing exactly what is in this discard pile. Unfortunately, we are seeing it off camera, so I can't tell what is in there. But again, I do think there's a Giratina VSTAR at the very least. A Hisuian Goodra would be hilarious to attack with. If you had the Noivern EX in the discard pile, that would have been really great, because then you could have retreated the Arceus into the Regidrago, copy the Chaos Wheel type attack where your opponent can't play special energies, hit into the one Mew that has the special energy on it, and then the opponent cannot play a double turbo on their other Mew, so they can't just like retreat and attack with the next one. So that would have been a way to go for a whole landslide victory if you had that available to you. But we are going to go for a boss's orders to knock out the only Pokemon that is an easy knockout there. And we are going to go boss's orders to bring up a Genesect. And we are just going to go for what? The Lost Impact? Yep, we are. We are copying Giratina VSTAR. It's very hard to tell because of those rainbow rare cards. But we are copying it and doing Lost Zoning 2 energy cards in order to do 280 damage and win the game. So could have bossed up the Mew instead and essentially taken a 7 prize game. That would have been mostly for bragging rights, but just went for the sensible, easy knockout on the Genesect. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. All that good stuff up above. Check out that description box below for links to the Discord and socials and everything else. And we will see you guys next time.